Hey everyone, can you imagine a sports film in which the movie doesn't show the actual sport being played? So a baseball film where there's no pitchers throwing the ball, no batters hitting it, a soccer film where the soccer ball never gets kicked towards a goal, a golf movie where the golfers never take a swing at the ball and drive it 300 yards. So part of what makes the 2009 film Big Fan so unique is that it's definitely a sports film, but it does not show the topic sport being played at all. So when we look at the term genre film, let's define genre film. A genre film refers to film stories that have been repeated again and again with only slight variations. They tend to follow similar patterns or formulas with the same basic ingredients. Now, if we're talking about the genre film of sports films, that often includes underdog stories. So like the basketball film Hoosiers. You look at the football film Rudy, or even $1 Million Baby. So these movies might contain themes about underdog teams and underdog athletes vying to go against the odds and win, or just make the team, or to make something of themselves and see how far they can go in the sport. So sports films normally focus on the athletes and or the teams playing the sport, which is shown a lot in the particular movie. So again, circling to our film today, Big Fan, what's unique about it, it doesn't really focus mainly on the athletes. It focuses on, as you can guess from the title, the fans. And the main character specifically is Paul, played by Patton Oswalt. And I'll say right now, he does a fantastic job leading this film. Make no mistake, this is a drama film. Big Fan is a drama film, and you may know Patton Oswalt. He's mostly known as a comedic actor in both film and television. He has quite a resume, and he shows tremendous dramatic range in this character as Paul, who works, leads a simple life, works as a parking garage attendant, and lives with his mother, played by Marcia Jean Kurtz. And Paul is just an ardent New York Giants football fan. He spends a lot of his time writing, some time writing in his notebook what he's going to say when he calls into the local sports talk radio show. And his good friend is Sal, who's played by Kevin Corrigan, and Sal is a much more measured character in the sense is in that he doesn't show nearly as much emotion as Paul does. He doesn't have the kind of highs and lows as the character Paul. So this is a particular movie, big fan, in that I don't want to give away too much of the plot, because I don't want to spoil anything for you guys if you want to check the film out. And Big Fan is a film that is very engaging and very much worth watching. So Paul is the kind of guy, he's happy in his circumstances, and he and his friend Sal, they live for New York Giants football. Okay, and even when Paul's family members kind of suggest he get a better job, or that he's not in a certain place in life that he should be with relationships, he's fairly obstinate, because as long as he has the one thing in life to look forward to, which is New York Giants football, he's really content. He seems very content in life as long as he has that. So, sports are unique, whether it be big-time college sports or pro sports, in that they bring so many people together. They're so fun for so many people. I know sports, being a sports fan, that's always been a big part of my life. It always will be. And that's part of what this movie shows. It shows the sports fan and how big of a part teams and players are in the lives of fans. So that's shown with Paul very, very well and very poignantly. And a really great scene in the film is when Paul and Sal are outside of the Giants game, the stadium, and they're tailgating prior to the game and just soaking up the atmosphere with the fans, their fellow Giants fans. And so as it gets closer to game time, one of them mentioned about getting to their seats, and they happen to be nearer to the stadium, and it makes the viewer think they're about to go inside the stadium and see the game. And then the next scene flashes to where they're actually sitting, in chairs just by their car, where they've set up a very small television to watch the game from the outside, because presumably they can't afford regular tickets to the game, but they're such diehard fans that they want to be there and experience the game day experience, and with the fellow fans, and still be there and soak up the atmosphere. So I mentioned how sports can bring people together, and they do, but the rivalries in sports also obviously pit teams against each other, and therefore fans against one another as well. And how I mentioned Paul liking to call in to the sports talk radio show, and he normally would do so late at night into the after midnight or after 1 a.m., and that presents a unique problem with him calling with his mother there and him trying to sleep, and her trying to sleep. But aside from that point, Paul develops a rivalry and some animosity with this Philadelphia Eagles fan who calls into the local New York radio station, Philadelphia Phil, who's played by Michael Rappaport. So that becomes another interesting dynamic to the story, and that, as you might imagine, that becomes a kind of one of the point of conflicts in the story between this Philadelphia Eagles fan and Paul being the big-time Giants fan, and because those two teams are division rivals, and in the film they're both fighting for the NFC East title. And so again, with not wanting to give away the main part of the story, I can say that Paul is willing to protect his Giants at any costs, even if it's to his own detriment. So that really adds a unique part to the story, that he wants to give his team the best chance to win no matter what. It's like he's such a big New York Giants fan that he lives and dies with the game every week, and what's going to happen, and that's another interesting theme of kind of hope in the film, that there's always hope. Even if they lose this one week, they're going to rebound the next week, and there's always hope. Or at one point in the movie they talk about next season's schedule, that they're kind of predicting the record, and there's hope they'll be able to have an even better season than the previous season. So I think all sports fans can relate to that in a sense. And so yeah, there are some good supporting characters, other good ones in the film. Matt Servito plays a detective. He shows up in a few different scenes, and Paul's brother is played by Gino Caffarelli. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, but he plays the character of Jeff, and he does a great job as a supporting character, and being a kind of trying to be a good older brother, but yet being very firm with Paul at times. So yeah, as I said, this is a drama film through and through. There could be a couple parts, in the film that might elicit, chuckles from you, the viewer, and everything, and but nothing that's overtly supposed to be funny. I mentioned Paul's brother Jeff, who's a lawyer in the film, and there's a scene where they show that he had filmed a television commercial, because he's like supposed to be a personal injury lawyer, and that's kind of funny, because everyone sees those commercials on TV all the time, and there might be a couple subtle, one-liners that might elicit some laughs, or again, when I said him calling to the sports radio and his mom not being thrilled about that. So, some of the laughs the film might elicit are almost, almost kind of pity laughs for some of the characters, where you kind of just chuckle, but nothing laugh out loud funny in this film. I said it's a drama, and this is a very good film, underrated. This is the type of film, big fan, that is the type of film that I would think would develop a pretty strong cult following. and maybe it has, maybe I'm just not aware of a cult following for the film, but this is a really good film. And I said what's so unique is that this is 100% through and through a sports film, but it does not show any action whatsoever of players on the field playing. So that's unique, because again, the players and the teams are not really the focus. The focus is on Paul being this fan and how the team affects and influences his life, his life and his buddy Sal's life. So yeah, that's what makes it unique. I mean, at one point it does show one player kind of lining up to a football, but again, there's no actual gameplay or practice play shown, which is unique in a sports film, but this is through and through a sports film, and I really recommend this film. It's an enjoyable watch. And as you notice with most of my other videos, I don't really mention, the music of the film or the scores or soundtracks much, in part because I'm not a huge music guy. But a couple songs really add to the film, add to the tone of the film so well. Delta Dawn is played towards the end by Helen Reddy. A little earlier in the film, this song called Big White Cloud by John Cale is a decent enough song, it sounded like. And then at the very, very end, kind of the outro to the movie, John Prine's song Sweet Revenge. So really at the very end there, Delta Dawn and Sweet Revenge, those two songs really stood out as strong songs and very good songs that complemented the film very, very well. So this film was directed by Robert Siegel in his directorial debut, but evidently he's a big screenwriter, and probably The Wrestler and the Founder are maybe the two best well-known works he's done. But again, big fan. It is a very good film. Would recommend it. Patton Oswalt really, his character really shows some highs and some lows through what he's going through, and he really embodies that on screen terrifically well. And because at certain times in the film, a lot is coming at him from the outside world and his family members, and he shows that very well. A character in Paul who's struggling, but again, as long as he has his New York Giants football, he's going to be okay, and that's really the main part of his life. So watch it again, or once is enough for this one. Absolutely, I would place big fan in the watch it again realm. The 2009 film Big Fan, definitely watch it again. I would watch this film again, and each time I think it really it's a story you can really just get into, and whether you're a sports fan or not, in general, I think you can really enjoy this film. So big fan, definitely watch it again. I hope you enjoyed this. Any other thoughts or comments, please feel free to leave them. And until next time.